Hello, welcome to Chronicle NUFC over on Facebook. Oh, I think I'm live now. Hello, welcome to Chronicle Live over on Facebook. Newcastle have rescued a point 1-1 against Spurs in a game that, quite frankly, they didn't deserve to get anything out of. A last-minute penalty has sealed a point for Newcastle, and it is a controversial penalty. It was given via VAR. It was a check. It took about 3-4 minutes to decide whether it was going to be given. It was a free kick whipped in to the box, and Andy Carroll, who had come on with 13 minutes ago, he'd caused a bit of trouble for Spurs. They couldn't really handle him. He jumps to meet this free kick, he heads it down, and it hits Dyer on the kind of, well, somewhere here really. Carroll shouts immediately for it. The VAR check is then underway. It's then into the referee's ear. He goes and has a look at the monitor and points to the spot. I mean, if Jose Mourinho storms down the tunnel at this point, Callum Wilson puts it into the back of the net, and you can understand Jose Mourinho's frustration, anger. Spurs had been 1-0 up since the 25th minute. They should have gone into half time, maybe 4 or 5 goals to the good. If it wasn't for Caldalo, who produced 2 or 3 fantastic saves, stopped Harry Kane twice in the first half with 2 really good saves. There was also a free kick as well from the Celso, a really good double save he made there. But it wasn't for Caldalo, then it would have been 4 or 5 at half time. I guess though, for Newcastle fans, we're not really bothered over it. It's a point, and that's what matters. What matters is that score tally at the top of the TV screen. You've been watching it on Sky, and it's a 1-1. But that penalty is going to... it's this new rule, isn't it? If it hits you at the hand, it's deemed a penalty sort of thing. It's very harsh. Can Dyer get out of the way of it? Arguably not, but at the end of the day, it does hit the region in which the referee is going to have a decision to make. And for Newcastle to get the penalty last minute, Callum Wilson keeps a cool head, pops it into Lloris's right-hand side. Lloris dives as well to the right and gets something on it, but it's too powerful from into the back of the net. Wasn't a deserved point by any stretch of the means. I mean, Newcastle were pretty poor. It was their only shot on target, was that penalty. So a penalty that arguably didn't deserve to be given is Newcastle's only shot on target. They didn't have a shot on target against Brighton. And then here we are. They didn't have a shot on target against Spurs until that penalty, which arguably wasn't a penalty, and they've come away with a point. On paper, it's a good point. It's a needed point. It gives them a boost going into that game against Newport County and then against Burnley the weekend after. But it shouldn't mask away from the fact that Newcastle weren't very good here against Spurs. Spurs had it easy, and Spurs have really only got themselves to blame, I would say, for not finishing their chances. Darlow, like we say, had some really good saves to make, but really Spurs should have made the dominance pay. They failed to do so. It was a makeshift. It was a change side by Newcastle. Hayden started as part of 3 centre-backs with Manquillo and Matt Ritchie as wing-backs. Matt Ritchie ended up going off, which looked like a dislocated shoulder. Jamal Lewis coming on and filling in for the last 20 minutes or so. The game kind of changed when Carroll came on, and it was obvious that the plan was kind of knock it long. That was the game plan. Absorb the pressure, knock it long. It didn't really work until Carroll came on and started causing a bit of nuisance, and Spurs couldn't handle him. Carroll wanted a few fouls that he didn't get. It looked like he got caught later on. He was the last man. He turned, he went down to the ground. The linesman didn't award it. Carroll told him in no uncertain terms what he thought about that decision, and then Carroll ends up getting the penalty. Other than that, Newcastle just didn't look threatening the whole game. Callum Wilson looked isolated. Joe Linton had a decent game out on the left. He was causing Spurs a few problems here and there, but nothing to really write home about. But he did look more at home on the flank than he has ever done, probably in his central role. So a bit of positive news there. Almiron causing a bit of issue, but in large, more things to worry about for Newcastle than to be positive about. They've scraped the point here, and Jose Mourinho not happy at all. Steve Bruce will be happy with a point, just like Newcastle United fans will be. But if that's the other way around and Newcastle are pulled back because of a penalty decision of similar circumstances, you'd be absolutely raging. Jamie Carragher on Sky's talking about how it's ruining the game. We saw yesterday's decisions, from managers Roy Hodgson having a complaint about a penalty given against his Crystal Palace side. and you can see where the complaints are coming from. I think Brighton and Manchester United was a similar one. Yeah, this is gonna be the topic. Is going to be about this penalty. A point for Newcastle, though. It shouldn't mask the fact it was a very poor performance by Newcastle. And I'm sure Steve Bruce won't use the fact that they've gained a point to get away from the fact that Newcastle did not perform well. I guess the argument would be is that they kept themselves in the game. But like I say, more down to Spurs' poor finishing and Cardalo's man of the match performance and goal than anything else. But end of the day, Newcastle 1-1, cool finish by Callum Wilson from the spot under a lot of pressure, and Newcastle go to that Newport County game, just in better spirits than they would have done had they lost here today. Head over to Chronicle Live for all the reaction from Steve Bruce, the players, 5 things we learned, the match report as well. There'll be a podcast up later. Thank you very much for joining.